Hello, Creative Gems. Today is all about marbling. So if you like the look of marble, then today's video is for you. Today I'll be showing you two different and very easy techniques to achieve that beautiful marble finish. We'll be making several beautiful plates like these that you can use to hold your jewelry, your keys, or just about anything you would want to showcase in your home. We'll also be making some shelving with a marble finish. All the pieces we'll be making today will be easy to recreate and will stay within a DIY budget. In fact, I have only done marbling once before, so I would not call myself professional, but when we're done the pieces, I think you'll be very impressed at how easy they were to make and how beautiful they look. Let's dive right into the first method we're going to use to create our marble pieces. I was sent a ResinCrete kit that we'll be using to create a few plates. This kit is for beginners like myself, so I'm really excited to dig in and see what we can make. And I would also like to thank JDiction for sending this kit to me and for sponsoring today's video. First, I want to make sure I have everything I need. In the kit, we have 2 plastic cups, a 1 kilogram bag of ResinCrete powder, a scoop, a spatula, and 3 different molds. The molds are made of silicone, so they're very flexible and bendy. I also have a few other silicone molds, and if you have your own, you can use those as well. I also have my own scale to help me measure things out. Before we begin, let's take a look at the instructions on the back of the ResinCrete bag. There's really only a few steps to follow. We'll need to measure out the ResinCrete powder, add some water, mix, and then pour into the molds. After 30 minutes, the ResinCrete will set and that can be removed from the molds. So let's go ahead and measure out some ResinCrete powder. It's important to follow their measurements. For every 100 grams of ResinCrete powder, we'll need to add 30 to 35 grams of water. And that's the reason why my scale will come in handy. And if you're going to use a scale, make sure that you calibrate it first by setting the cup onto the scale and calibrate it to 0, so it will make it easy to calculate out the powder to water measurements. Also, a little tip for you is that if you don't happen to have a scale, don't worry. If you use their scoop, 1 full scoop of powder works out to be just about 25 grams of ResinCrete powder. I used room temperature bottled water, although I'm not sure if that really makes a difference. And here I'm using the spatula to mix it until you have a yogurt-like consistency. As you mix, make sure you scrape all the powder from the bottom and keep mixing into the water until the mixture starts to thin out. I also want to mention that I ended up adding 5 grams more water for a total of 35 grams of water to my 100 grams of powder to get that yogurt-like consistency. I'm working fast here because I want to make sure the mixture doesn't start to harden before I get the chance to set it into the mold, but you should have at least 5 to 10 minutes before you need to pour the mixture into the mold. Now comes the magic. Before pouring the mixture into the mold, we're going to add a few drops of paint into the mixture. You could use what is included in the kit, but since I'm a glam girl, I'm going to opt for some silver metallic paint. This is just acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree. The more veining you want for your marble finish, the more drops of paint you'll want to add, but don't go overboard. And the key to the marbling effect is after you add the drops of paint, don't mix the paint in too much. I'm literally stirring in only a few times and then we're ready to pour the mixture into the mold. When pouring in the mixture, you can use your spatula to get all the mixture into the mold. And as you pour the mixture in, you should already be able to see the marbling of the paint we added. Once you have all the mixture poured into the mold, you'll want to tap the sides of the mold gently to make sure there's an even distribution of the mixture. The tapping will also help to get rid of any air bubbles. After that, you just need to set it aside for 30 minutes. And now we're ready to demold our first piece. See how easy the silicone mold separates, and I can already see the veining. The silicone mold also had some ribbing, which has transferred beautifully to our leaf plate. The entire plate has a plaster-like finish that is perfectly smooth like porcelain, and the edges of the plate is scalloped perfectly with no rough edges. And here's a second piece I made. For this one, I added metallic gold paint. And this time I added a few extra drops because I felt the first piece, although pretty, could have used some additional darker veins for a greater contrast against the white. This mold is shaped with a deep inset for the stem, and it looks like I broke off the stem by mistake, But no worries, I'll use a little fix-all to glue that back and no one would be the wiser, as you'll see later. Just take a look at how pretty this plate is. The veins look incredible and so natural, and they carry to the sides of the plate and to the bottom as well. For our next piece, we're going to make a round plate that will become part of a two-tier tray. This will be the bottom plate, so it will be much larger than the other two pieces we just made. And because of that, I will be doubling the measurements and use 200 grams of the ResinCrete powder. Since the cups are small, I'm transferring the powder to a larger plastic bowl before mixing in the water. And since we use 200 grams of ResinCrete, we'll add 60 grams of water. And then in goes the silver metallic acrylic paint. Since it's a larger piece, I'm adding more paint. I also want to make sure we can really see the veining. And once again, I'm doing a rough stir with the paint added. We don't want to mix in the paint thoroughly since we want the marble effect. Now goes in the mixture into this mold. By the way, I found this mold on Temu, but I believe it's also available on Amazon. If you want to recreate any of the pieces from today, I will leave links down below in the description box. And for all my US, Canada, and UK followers, we have a special creativity discount code for you that you can use to save 15% off your JDiction ResinCrete kit. How awesome is that? And also awesome is that you'll notice that I'm not using gloves. That's because I discovered that the ResinCrete is made of pure mineral extract, so no worries about any chemicals. In fact, this is a craft that I plan to do with my 11-year-old niece, who, like her aunt, loves to craft. And by the way, if you're still with me, drop me a note with a comment below with the word marble and let me know what you think of these marble pieces so far. I would be curious to know if you have ever done any marbling techniques before, either using the method I just showed you or some other method you have discovered. Once again, this plate has come out beautifully. I can't get over how porcelain smooth the plate surface is, and the marble veining looks absolutely amazing. And because I only did a rough stir after adding the paint, the veining appears randomly and carries over to the edges, the sides, and the bottom of the plate so naturally. For this plate, I do have some unevenness along the edges towards the bottom of the plate that I'm gently removing with my fingers. The excess just crumbles off very easily. I'm also using the sandpaper the kit came with to smooth out the edges. A gentle rub against the rough edges is all that is required, and immediately you'll see and feel how smooth the edge has become. And with that said, here are the final pieces. I think these plates or dishes make beautiful gifts for a friend or family member. The veining on each piece looks so natural and beautiful. They were so easy and quick to make with the ResinCrete, and really the possibilities are endless what designs and other pieces you can come up with. And here I have placed some jewelry pieces on each dish, and you'll notice for the larger plate I added some crystal doorknobs to the bottom to raise the plate off the table surface. I then added a glass tea light holder to the center and then stacked a smaller marble plate on top. We now have our two-tier tray that would look perfect in a bathroom or vanity table. Comment down below with the word marble and let me know if you would try to make these pieces. And with that said, let me show you a second method to achieve a marble effect. We're going to take these wooden planks and prep them. These ones are from the dollar store, so they are a little on the thin side. If you prefer thicker shelves, you could also opt for some wooden planks from your local hardware store. Best part is that this project is very budget friendly, and as all materials are available from the Dollar Tree. To begin, we are going to set the wood plank boards on a raised surface. Here you can see I'm just using 2 rows of painter tape to set the wood on top of. We will then apply 1 to 2 layers of white paint directly onto the wood boards. You can use any acrylic paint, or if you happen to have some leftover white paint or primer from the hardware store, that will work fine as well. When applying the paint, make sure you cover all the sides of the wood board, front, back, and all the edges as well. And while we work on that, I would like to take a moment to thank all the returning viewers to my channel for tuning in to today's craft project. If you are visiting for the first time, I would like to extend a warm welcome. And if you enjoy glam home decor and DIY crafts on a budget, I would love it if you would support my channel by hitting the subscribe button so you can be notified of my future DIY craft videos. Once the paint on the wood board is fully dry, we will need to make a small batch of paint containing mostly water and a bit of gray paint. Here I'm using some silver metallic acrylic paint from the dollar store and adding it to a small tin container of water. You'll want to have the mixture to be very liquidy, so make sure you apply only a bit of paint to the water. Use the tip of your paintbrush to stir the mixture so the paint infuses into the water. Then take a small sponge and dab it into the paint water mixture. Squeeze out the excess and then start lightly dabbing the surface area of the wood board. It's better to apply conservatively at first because you can always layer on more as you work through the piece. As you repeat the application of paint water to the board, have a sheet of paper towel handy in case you need to squeeze out the excess from the sponge. Otherwise, you may create too many air bubbles on the wood board, which will take longer to dry. Keep repeating the application of the paint water with your sponge until a first layer is applied across the board. You'll notice that as the paint water dries on the board, the gray will become fainter. If you want the gray to come through more prominently, simply continue to add another layer of paint water to the board. Again, go slowly so you can keep control of how much paint is applied and how prominently the gray shows through. And here's what the board looks like so far with the paint about 3/4 dry. Next, you're going to want to take a dry side of your sponge and gently drag it in short strokes across the board. This will begin to blend some of the gray with the white so that you do not see any harsh lines. You'll start to notice the beginnings of some marbling. Next comes the really fun part. To create the veining that you typically see in marble countertops, you will need to use a paintbrush with a very pointy tip. Apply the dry tip of the paintbrush directly to your gray paint. A little goes a long way, so no need to saturate the paintbrush at all. When creating the veining, apply fine strokes lightly. They should be slightly jagged, definitely not straight. Don't forget to carry the veining to the edges of the wood board as well to give it a more convincing look. Take your time and make sure you don't add too many veins at once. Go slow, as you can always add more veins, but it would be pretty difficult to remove them if there are too many. The veins should also be drawn diagonally rather than vertically or straight across horizontally. Remember, the idea is to mimic the look of marble, so you want to make it look as natural as possible. Here you can see I'm also alternating between the paintbrush and the sponge to ensure the gray color blends so there are no harsh strokes. And some of the veining should be slightly darker than others, again to give it a more natural look. And the veins should also be of different lengths, some shorter than others, and some should branch out as well, like trees on a branch. And the beauty of this technique is that it is perfect for beginners like myself, because you can keep applying more layers if you want to make the marbling more prominent. And by the way, if you have made it this far in today's tutorial, comment down below with the word marble and let me know if this is a paint technique that you would want to try. Here's what our board looks like so far. You can already see how similar this wood piece is to marble. The veins are showing through the base white background and they are carried through to the edges of the board. But we're not quite done yet. As the final step, when you are satisfied with the marbling, you will want to apply a gloss finish to make the piece shiny and slightly reflective. For this, we are going to apply a couple of coats of Mod Podge. Mod Podge comes in a variety of finishes, but for this project, we will definitely want to choose the gloss finish in order to get that shiny effect. The Mod Podge, which is water-based, will dry clear and will act as a sealer as well. Here you will notice that I'm actually mixing the Mod Podge with some water. This is because the Mod Podge is glue and comes quite thick, so we want to water it down roughly 50% Mod Podge and 50% water. You want to add enough water until you get a milk-like consistency. Once the mixture is ready to use a foam brush to apply the Mod Podge to the board. The glossier the finish you want, the more coats you will want to apply. But make sure you let each coat dry fully before applying the next coat. For my board, I ended up applying about 3 coats in total. Take a look at the marbling on these wooden planks. The pattern we have created with the paint resembles the natural swirls and veins of real marble. We started with a base color of white followed by layers of multiple shades of gray that mimic the intricate veins and patterns found in natural marble. Just like real marble, the veins created on these planks run a horizontal and diagonal direction, which mimics movement and flow. Using the sponge and thin, pointed paintbrush helped us blend the subtle gray shades to give a natural look. For the next step, we will need to attach the legs to the wooden planks. I have chosen to use Fix-All, which is a strong adhesive, but if you prefer, you could opt to drill a screw through for extra hold. Once the Fix-All has been applied, we're going to clamp each of the wooden planks to the legs overnight to allow ample time for the Fix-All to cure. Here are the pair of faux marble shells with the legs attached. One of the shells has been embellished with mirror tiles while the other has been left as is, providing 2 unique options to suit any style or preference. When stacked, these shelves provide ample display and storage space for a variety of small items such as jewelry, trinkets, or decorative accents. The full marble finish adds a touch of sophistication and elegance to any room, making this shelving unit a versatile and attractive addition to your home decor. For those who prefer a more understated look, the second shelf without the mirror tiles is an excellent alternative. Its simple and clean lines make it a versatile piece that can be used in a variety of settings, from a living room or bedroom to a bathroom or kitchen. One of the benefits of these faux marble shelves is their flexibility. They can be placed on a table, bureau, buffet table, or countertop, making them ideal for small spaces or for adding a touch of style to a variety of rooms in your home. They are also lightweight and easy to move, making it easy to change up your decor whenever you like. And if you enjoyed today's craft projects, comment down below with the word marble and let me know if you would like to recreate any of the crafts from today's tutorial. And in the meantime, stick around and check out some of my other home decor crafts.